So what we are going to work today is, I also has taken a break for the Easter, and I came into this realization that there is a weight in the awareness. So the weight in the awareness is that people think that when I read the textures, when I practice the realization, the life is going to become lighter and easier. But to be more honest, on a situation like that, life is going to only be difficult because now you are more aware of it. You don't entertain, you don't maintain old structures because the structure is called me. I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to be looked at this. But this is the awareness when it comes into that realization, it is no longer on a conscious level looking from that perception of me. So, so you will find that what was normal before, all these friendships, all these chats, all these relationships, suddenly when the awareness start growing more, become misaligned. Not it's against you, but it is actually in favor of you, that shift. So relationships suddenly feel different, and you suddenly feel my language is not being understood. But that's because the way we speak is different. Way we respond to things in life is going to be different because it's engaged more precise. Now, precise is truth. Truth does hurt a lot. Even when it comes to the space of loved one, it hurts because you don't want to have these likes, because the modern world is about people liking you. People have to understand you. But have you ever thought about, I don't like myself, and I need this validation constantly. And when the awareness matures, there is the isolation. And that isolation is not that you're pulling out of families and relationships. It's absolutely the old structure is breaking down. You can't have new readings, new realization, new class, new yoga teachers, new teachers in the old structure because it's only strengthened the me. But for the mind, letting go of me is quite quite a painful task. So it doesn't want to be in that space. So that's why I always say awareness doesn't simplify life. It removes that unconscious structures that once made the life feel easier. I went on a routine, I did the thing, I came back, I did this, I went that, I did that. And when this dissolve, this old structure, new sensitivity is coming into the place. Now, earlier stage of this new sensitivity is quite pulling away from gatherings, pulling away from people who are different to you. People don't realize what you're going through. And it kind of get a little bit muddled in the start, but because it feels like a difficulty, but it is in fact the clarity without the distortion. So don't react to these situations because everywhere in the world they want you to react, because the more you are becoming me and me and me, myself, my world, my rights, my wrongs, more difficulty the life will get into you. Um, so it's like try to walk through that path without being harassed by any of these emotions that was from the old structure. So there's a deep insight The challenge is holding awareness from the mind is going to be very difficult. When the awareness remains mental, it separates and it judges, it creates subtle isolation. But when it's embodied, it includes even the difficult person in the family or the relationship or going through it softens. It's a love connection without losing the clarity. Otherwise, a lot of people have connections, but those connections are, I want you to team up with me. I want you to feed my me, my ego. So we're going to talk about all these things because in times like these, in times like Easter, we have these friendships and gatherings. A lot of things will come up, but if you can gently work it out with the family, with the friends, with the community that you call, it's going to be amazing because you are also going to grow into directions that you never thought that you have the capacity to expand. Now, saying that, I will gently move the camera towards Darren and just find a place to arrive into this space that we are talking about, but more on a place from embodiment. So take a deep breath in and gently allow the breath to gently settle naturally. I welcome you all, just the weight of awareness and the need to be right begins to fall away. Need to be me falls away. Just take a moment to arrive, not into the space, but into yourself. There is a quiet weight that comes with awareness. Shoulders roll back, lift up, and breathe out. Not heavy in suffering, but heavy in truth. Now take a deep breath in, shrug the shoulders up, tilt the head back, massage that back of the skull very gently. Connection and feed in the mind, chin to the chest and collapse the spine. Now take a deep breath in and look into the third eye, the space of the third eye. Breath out, relax, and feel the sensation on the feet, between the feet. Connect to it. Take a deep breath in, look up, look into the space of the third eye. Breath out, feel the energy of the fingers, pulsation. Be with it, come into the body. So now you are begin to see more clearly, not by identifying things, because you also begin to feel more deeply how much of your life has been spent trying to be right, trying to hold a position, trying to protect something called my family, trying to protect something called me. Now take a deep breath in, breath out, twisting the spine to the right side, stomach very gently pulling. We are not here to fix that, what we came to get fixed. We are here to see it. Back to the center. Change leg formation. Take a deep breath in. Breath out, turning onto the left. Out breath. So you begin to just gently notice where in you is there still a need to be right. And without a judgment, just feel the weight of holding that I want to be right. I want people to understand me. I want people to embrace me for what I have achieved in spirituality. Just feel the weight of holding that. It's a weight because it's a superficial weight. Where do you hold that weight? Some people, when they can't or they touch the throat, some people hold the head, some people lash out. The cost of being caught in the ego. Now take a deep breath in and allow that breath to very gently come in and move out. Elongate the out breath more. Now the cost of being caught in the ego, the cost of needing to be right is often invisible at first. But if you don't work on this, it will be deeply felt over time. Now take a deep breath in and left foot into the front back, opening up the right hip, shoulders roll back, arms raise onto the crown, interlacing the fingers. If you can get the balance, otherwise don't worry about it. Breath out, spread the wings wider, clench and unclench, release any tension. Drop the elbows, walk those palms, release into the front, palms facing up. Couple of more breaths. In friendships, when the cost of being caught in the ego, it creates subtle distance. Conversations becomes less about connection and more about positioning. I want to position myself in the space of the work, family, relationship. So you lose connection. So you have to see this subtle difference between the weight of the awareness and need to be right and where you are noticing it. So you begin to please others not from love, but from the fear of losing approval. Or you resist them to protect an identity. Now, see where you're holding these things. Slowly, authenticity now has replaced by performance. So you become the core me performs like I'm the mother, I'm the father, I'm the provider, I'm the man, I'm the woman, I'm the son, I'm the daughter, I'm the friend. So just observe the performance. Now, quite a lot of conscious people feel it, even if they cannot name it. The heart closes slightly, trust softens, presence disappears on that person. Now take a deep breath in, very gently coming back, shoulders roll back, opening up the chest. Very gently, we are shifting into the space of a plank. So now, even you thought that I'm protecting me in this practice, drop the knees and stretch the spine and bring the buttocks onto the heels. What is actually happening is, most importantly, we lose the connection to our real self. Because the moment we are trying to be right, we are no longer simply being. So this awareness invites something deeper, not to win the moment, but to be free within it. Now got it so far? Crawling and bringing the chest into the front. Drop the belly, breathing in into up face. Breathe out towards the down face. Breathing in left foot into the front, into the pigeon pose. Shoulders roll back, opening up the chest. Arms rest onto the crown, interlacing the fingers, palms facing up. Breath out, spread the wings, drop the elbows. The weight of the awareness and the subtle movements of the ego, you're now exploring not by fixing, but by witnessing. So you observe both angularities in here, the need to be right, need to have the last word, and the softness of letting go. Feel the bodies in this pose. Notice the breath without changing it. Let the body arrive before the mind tries to understand. Take a deep breath in, very gently coming back. Into a plank. Strong on the pelvic floor. Now drop the knees and stretch the spine. Bring that, when you're witnessing the ego, bring that awareness to the subtle need to be right. Notice that thoughts that defend, thoughts that explain, thoughts that justify. Create space to observe. Rolling and bringing the chest into the front. Draw the belly, soften the hips. Breathing in into a gentle cobra. Overlook into the right. Back into the center. Overlook into the left. Back into the center. Relax onto the floor. Soften the third eye. So softness is allowing, present. This is the other angle. Now sense the space behind the thought. The openness that does not need to respond. Palms onto the chest level. Breathing in into up face. Extend the elbows. Sole of the feet. Heels together. Breath out towards the down face. Strong on the pelvic floor, shoulders relaxed. Drop the knees and stretch the spine. Now we have arrived, we have witnessing the ego, we have seen the other angle, space behind the thought, the openness that does not need to respond. This is the other angle, softness, a loving presence. Now the next step is we are holding both angles. Now allow both to exist. Can you allow the both to exist, the contraction and the openness? Do not choose. Awareness is not in either. You have to come and understand this. It holds both contraction and the openness. Because the world is full of healing techniques and no one actually is healing. Well, have more access to spiritual context, but no one is enlightening. There's so many products, way to make this path easy, but it has become more difficult and more confused. Now allow both to exist, the contraction and the openness. Can you hold both? Reaction and the respond. Right and the wrong. Good and the bad. Do not choose. Awareness is not in either. It holds both. Feel the cost of the ego here is feel into where ego has created tension in relationships because you want to be right. You want to tell people the moments of needing to win, moments of pleasing to belong. Feel the cost in the body, not as a blame I'm asking, but as the truth. Coming to the child pose. Crown of the head onto the floor, lifting up the buttocks, activate the pituitary and the pineal energy. Roll back to the third eye, fist on the third eye. With each exhale, allow a softening. No need to be right. No need to tell anyone that you understand things. No need to hold the identity. Where is the need of explanation coming? When you hold the identity. Where is the need to come? I am not being understood. And you hold the identity. I'll let the body drop deeper into the present so you can go a bit more further. Pick up the spine one vertebra at a time. Gently return to the breath. Notice the simplicity of being. Now, there is nothing to prove here. Nothing to be right, nothing to be wrong, nothing to be answer to the yesterday. Only awareness, free and open. Nothing to know that have I been understood. Now bring the awareness to a recent interaction that felt difficult or heavy. I'm sure all of you got one. If you don't have one, you can have one of my ones. You can borrow it. You don't want to keep it for a longer because it's very difficult and heavy. Notice where in the body contraction arises. Do not change it. Most of the time it's on the throat and the chest. If you're a physical person, if you're angry and bash things, it's in the knuckles, it's in the hand. I want you to breathe gently into the area without forcing the release. Let the body express micro movements if they arise, subtle shifts, softening or holding. Now, most of all, I want you to observe the impulse to withdraw, impulse to be correct, impulse to write that text, impulse to verbalize it, impulse to fix that state. Stay with the sensation instead, the impulse. That impulse can be there, but you also hold. Allow the awareness to move from the head into the body, from thinking into the feeling. The challenge is not awareness itself. The challenge is holding awareness from the mind. When awareness remains mental, it separates, it judges, it creates subtle isolation. But when it is embodied, it includes, even the idea is different to you, it softens the relationship and it allows connection without losing the clarity. Now come into a meditation posture, whatever it feels correct for you. Push the neck to the right, switch the neck to the left. Back to the center. Now to go deeper, where do I feel tension when I see clearly? This means you're looking at you, but you're not biased towards of the looking. Where do I feel tension when I see clearly? Now, can I remain present without withdrawing things that I even don't like about? easy to see the other. Can I be with others without needing them to change? Can I remain present without withdrawing myself? There is a moment where awareness feels like weight. Not because truth is heavy, but because illusion no longer carries you. Stay here. Stay here not in resistance, but in quiet observation. This weight is not a burden, it is the doorway to deeper freedom. So awareness now begins to speak in this meditation without words. Well, it's arriving because you're disappearing from it as identity. So there is no loudness. It does not demand your attention. It simply reveals. In that revealing, something within you begin to shift. Not outwardly, not the normal drama, not dramatically, but in a way that cannot be reversed. Sit gently. Let the breath fall into its own rhythm. Notice the body as it is. No correction, no improvement, just here. Weight that is not a burden. There comes a stage where awareness no longer comforts you. Instead of it has become more honest with you. So what was felt easy now feels strained. What once felt natural now feels misaligned. That is not because life has changed. It is because you are no longer being carried by what was unconscious. The weight of you feel is not heaviness. It is the absence of the illusion, the structure. For the first time, you're standing without support from what is false. You don't have to have group gathering. You don't have to write to people. You don't have to text to people. Because you don't need that support superficially. The first time you are meditating without support from what is false. Now, where awareness lands in the body, awareness does not live in thoughts. It lands in the body. You may feel it as pressure in the chest. Most of the time, I feel the tightening in the throat, so you might be different. Subtle contraction in the belly. These are not symptoms to remove. They're expressions of truth entering the system. Stay close. Do not move away from the sensation. Let the body be the place where awareness completes itself. Now, let's expand this into the relational field. When the truth meets the other, as your practice deepens, relationships begin to recognize you hear tone more clearly. You feel intention more precisely. Whether someone is loud, you don't react to that because you feel the intention more precisely. You notice where you once adjusted yourself to belong. This can feel like a distance for the time being, but it is not distance. It is the ending of unconscious merging. You are no longer abandoning yourself. This is not the identity to maintain connections. And this can feel like a loss, but it's actually the beginning of a real relationship. Now let's expand the field into the health. When the body reorganizing, we have the scalar system also does, with the correct intention, this part. The body begins to speak differently under awareness. All tensions rise, patterns surface, emotions that were once hidden become visible. This is not the body. The body begins to speak differently under awareness. All tensions, all patterns, emotions that once hidden become visible. Stay here, not in resistance, but in a quiet observation. Nothing is a burden here. It is the doorway to a deeper liberation. Gently return to the breath. Notice the simplicity of being. Notice that there is nothing to prove here. Only awareness, free and open. You're in this field. We are not here. Awareness invites you something deeper, not to win the moment, but to be free within it. Arms raised onto the crown, cleansing the space and the aura of that realization. Arms onto the Namaskar position. Don't try to fix anything. Within this way, there is a doorway. Beyond that doorway, there is a freedom that does not depend on anything. Namaste. Namaste. So now you see Sylvia there, that's all. So Lisa, Sylvia, Lise, there's Rebecca, Darcy. So you see the class is about, it's very gentle. There's nothing to sell, nothing to correct. And when we constantly monitor these paths, trying to be right, trying to protect what all structures have held and held us, we suddenly becomes into that place that is quite liberating. It's it creates that doorway for you to see things very clearly. So there is a weight of this awareness first comes as I'm losing my connections, I'm losing my connection to the family, to the loved ones, I'm not being understood, but it is not true. If you can go through that stage very gently, then comes the liberation part, because by not being reactive. So awareness holds what is right, what is wrong, it does not matter. Awareness holds both together. But the mind is conditioned to be right. Whether it's finance, whether it's health, whether it's relationships. I always say about relationships are much more better when the romance is taken out. That's the illusion of a relationship. Because relationship is totally misunderstood perceptions. So we more have not a housing crisis, we have more of a home crisis. That people don't feel home within themselves, or no matter. That's why they are buying so many houses to feel the home. More than one. They'll do that if the science will develop bodies, they'll buy more bodies also. Be in the right body, because it is a psychological part. And this is very important to understand, especially in these times. Especially because there's always this reaction creates separation. So be very cautious where you're getting caught up in it and just gently by the breath, pull yourself back because your identity is a hook. It's a hook. When there is a hook, it's always entangled with something. My love to you all. So good to see you. There's Rebecca Darcy and Lisa and Liz and many more who are going to see this class. Big hugs to you. Love you all.